Hello everybody. Today we're going to be going over IB Math Studies geometry problem at the IB Math Studies level. So the problem says that Yao drains the oil from his motorbike into two identical cuboids. So first keyword is cuboid, okay, with rectangular bases of width 10, length of 40, and height of 5, okay. And they give us the diagrams too, thankfully. So they tell us that the oil from the motorbike fills the first cuboid completely, which is right here, and the second one only to a height of 2 centimeters, which is right here. So for part A, it asks us to calculate the volume of oil drained from Yao's motorbike. So we have to add the volume of this whole cuboid and the volume of the cuboid that only reaches this height right here of 2. Okay? So, well, first things first, in the blue booklet, they give us that the volume of a cuboid is going to be length times width times height, right? And so they give us all these values. So for the first cuboid, we have that it will be 10 times 40 times 5, which is 50 times 40, which is 2000. For the second cuboid, which is right here, we're still going to have a width of 10. We still have the length of 40, but the height is going to be 2. Okay? Let's remember that the oil is only reaching up until here, the height of 2. Okay? In the other scenario, it was the whole height. Right? Okay, so here we have 80 times 10. So that is going to add up to 800. That is the volume of the second cuboid. So we have to add the volume of the first cuboid, the second one, and we end up with 2,800. Okay? And we're not done yet because in all, well, in pretty much every geometry problem, you're going to deal with units, okay? And in this scenario, they tell us that these are centimeters, okay? This is kind of like the small text and the place where they can take points away. So in this scenario, since we're talking about volume, it's going to be centimeters cubed, okay? If it was area, it would be, okay, whatever amount, like 1,000 centimeters squared, right? And when we talk about distance, I don't know, like 50 centimeters to the power of 1, okay? And we usually don't write to the power of 1 because it's redundant, because it's always there hidden. But yeah, for distance, it's centimeters by itself. For area, it's centimeters squared. And for volume, it's going to be cubed. So for part A, the answer is 2,800 centimeters cubed. For the last part B, Yao pours all the oil from the cuboids into an empty cylindrical container, which is right here. And the height of the oil in the container is 30 centimeters. So the container is not all filled. All right, and it asks us to ask the internal radius R of the container, right? Now, first things first, it tells us it's a cylinder, okay? And in the formula booklet, we have the knowledge of the volume of a cylinder, right? Which is volume equals pi times R squared, R being radius, and times H being height. So the interesting thing about cylinders is that, let's imagine we have a super, super tall one, okay? And at the top, we could have, I don't know, 1,000 meters, okay? Imagine something super tall. It doesn't matter if I cut off the cylinder down here, or over here, or somewhere else, okay? Anywhere along the structure, the radius is all going to be the same, right? Because it's perfectly shaped upward. And so I feel like that's what this problem is trying to trip you up on. It's like, oh, the oil only reaches here. What is the radius of the thing up here? Well, you have to realize that the radius up here is the same as the radius down here. Okay? They are the same distance. What is different is the height. Okay? But since we only care about finding the radius, we don't really care what the height is. Okay, the radius is always going to be the same. So using this formula right here, we know that the volume of this cylinder, right, is 2,800 centimeters cubed, because that's what we got from part A. So we can have 2,800 equals pi times r squared times height, which is 30. Okay, so we're going to pass 30 dividing. Okay, so we pass 30 dividing, we end up with 93.33333 infinite equals pi r squared. We divide by pi, which by the way, pi is 3.141, but it should be in your calculator too anyway. We divide by pi on both sides, so pi goes away here. This divided by pi is going to be the same as 29.71452 equals radius squared. We square both sides to get rid of, we square root both sides to get rid of the r squared. The square root of this is, and that gives us that r equals 5.45. Okay, we state it in centimeters because it's distance, and that is the final answer. I feel like the most important part here is that, there's two things. The knowledge from part A, we had to use it for part B, right? Because this 2,800 centimeters right here, the oil in the tank, is the same volume that we had to use here. And also the knowledge that the radius in a cylinder that's super tall, or any cylinder really, the radius is always going to be the same, okay? All these values are the same. So those are two pieces of knowledge that were needed for this example. I hope it helped.